just walked in here off the street. It's a Wonderful Life has been my favorite film since I was a little child. It's the film that got me interested in filmmaking. So I ended up becoming a screenwriter, directed a few shorts. But every year we play that film again and again, and it's just dear to my heart. So to come in off the street and meet a star of the film was just an amazing coincidence and a delightful shock.
Well, thank you, but I don't really look at myself as a star. I think that I'm more a piece of film history. We had an interview for It's a Wonderful Life, and I was sent out, and there were maybe 5 other girls there. There was one little girl that had a mother that accidentally spilt some coffee on my dress. And of course, in those days, we all wore dresses. Well, I don't know if she thought maybe I would be a little bit intimidated going in with a dirty dress on. Didn't bother me one whit. I walked in there and I was chatty Cathy, just like always. And maybe that's why he liked me. I don't know, I have no clue, but I got the job. I think that Frank Capra did perfect casting for this film. I have seen pictures of Donna Reed in her later years, and I look just like her. Amazing. And my sister in the movie, Janie, Carol Coombs Mueller, she looked like Donna Reed at the time. Perfect casting. Every single one, from Clarence down to Uncle Billy. It was perfect. There was not one miscue. He read people. He knew what he was casting. He knew how to do it. He knew people.
The story is, and it could be just urban legend, but Tommy Bellissima was the barber. He had just come from Italy, so he did not know American films well. And what happened is Tommy and Frank Capra made fun of each other's name. As Carolyn, you well know, Capra means goat. Bellissima means beautiful one. So Tommy says, well, I'm the beautiful one and you're a goat. And Frank laughed at him. And we know that he has family in Auburn, that he had family in Auburn. So it wouldn't have been outrageous for him to come for the Finger Lakes, for walking around and so forth.
The plaque on the bridge, it makes so much sense that he would have seen that.
He would have, because Tommy was on that side of town. He was on the south side. A lot of communities have railroad tracks. And the Italians all lived on the south side of town. We don't have a railroad track, what we had is a canal. When I was growing up, I thought Baird Street Bridge was the longest bridge in the world. It took me from America right to Italy.
And we know that in 1945, when Frank Capra came here, the plaque, the Antonio Veracalli plaque, was mounted here on the bridge. And the story of Antonio Veracalli could very easily be an inspiration for what happens in the movie itself. He was 17 years old when on April 12th, 1917, he heard a woman screaming that had jumped into the canal. And she was screaming for help to be rescued. And even though he couldn't swim himself, he jumped right in, and he did manage to save her. But in the process, he drowns.
The sad thing about him losing his own life in the process so moved the community that at a time when Italians were not all that popular in Seneca Falls and Catholics were not all that popular, the idea that the church, St. Patrick's, was filled to overflowing for his funeral, it just says an awful lot. A gold coin being struck, the gravesite being offered free of charge. His act, his selfless act, just really struck a note with this community. And when they put the plaque up on the bridge, that's this forever testament to what he did. And that plaque was here when Frank Capra came to town. And I've always thought that he took Antonio Veracalli's act and put it into the movie because, as I said, in the original story,
The greatest gift.
yes, George never jumps. He's on the bridge, he's thinking about it, and Clarence comes in and basically says, I wouldn't do that if I were you, and starts this conversation with George. He didn't have to put that in the movie.
He took
But
it to a different level.
He did. He took the story and made it so much better. And George would never admit it, but Capra turned George into a hero.